Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show I have a really good friend of mine who is the founder of Project Forgive, and we're going to go in. I'm going to introduce her in just a moment, but before I do that I want to make sure that if you are watching this on Facebook Live or a little later on our YouTube channel, don't forget that after the show is over to click the link below this video so you can take my 30-second quiz so we can figure out what is holding you back from success. So please let me introduce my friend, Dr. Shawne Duperon. How are you, Shawne? Dr. Shawne?
I'm good. I'm tickled to be here. Hey, Natalie.
Because you just recently got doctor status, right?
Yes, I'm like a year, and it feels so good, especially when you work so hard to achieve something very important to you. It feels so good, especially in my topic of gossip,
That's right, I know, and very good at that you are. So for those people in our community who haven't met you yet or don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into doing what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a former TV reporter. I was a health reporter for so many years, and then went out on my own to start a business because I wanted to teach people how to get media coverage. And what I discovered, though, is it wasn't about media coverage. It was very similar to what you were saying about inspiring to actually do what your passion is, what excites you, and to break through fear. So most of what I do now is about taking risks, moving through fear as a communication consultant and trainer, and to actually forgive yourself when you screw up, because it's inevitable, you're going to screw up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's not life if we're not, pushing ourselves or reaching further or, facing challenges. I mean, I think challenges are those opportunities where we really get to grow, know more about ourselves and learn so that we can expand into who we need to be to step up to the, to what our true purpose or mission is at the time. So, yeah. So Project Forgive, tell us a little bit about this, because I know that you've been doing how many years has it been now since you've been doing this?
We've been going strong for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
It's crazy fun. I mean, we're global now. We're endorsed by Archbishop Desmond Tutu. We even got a Nobel Peace Prize nomination last year for our work on forgiveness, because everything we do is free. From our Facebook Lives, everything's free. Our resources are free. The programs that we do for kids at risk in states throughout the country are all sponsored by philanthropists and progressive companies. And it's what the real deal is, Natalie? It's the straight talk. It's the authentic, real stuff, getting rid of myths of forgive and forget. That is just not the case. And, do I have to be in relationship with someone after I've forgiven them? The answer is heck no, you don't. Especially if you're dealing with abuse issues or, and then you're facing issues like getting breast cancer and being mad at whoever your higher power is. We deal with all that stuff in an authentic, beautiful, and inspiring way.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing is, when you are faced with challenges like that, and we were talking about this earlier, how, we're not supposed to just go, oh, no, it's okay, I forgive you, and move forward. You have to feel the feelings, right? You have to feel the emotions that are normal, that are attached to those kind of events. It's healthy, right?
Absolutely. And what people don't know is forgiveness is like a fingerprint. It's unique for every individual, and there's stages to forgiveness, and it's non-linear. And the stages are basically shock, anger, grief, acceptance, and peace. You don't just do anger and check it off, do shock and check it off. You might lose your job or lose a big client. Yeah. And, you might be really ticked off, and then you get excited because you have an opportunity the next day, and you're like, oh, yay. One door closes, another door opens, and then they say no, and then you're angry again. That's just the flow and process of it, and allowing those to flow. And I know you're big on flow, facing reality. When you're in that flow and you allow, especially the grief, because grief is the hardest, and grief is the most transformative, and that's where the gold is.
Yeah, I agree. So what was your motivation behind starting Project Forgive?
We had a dear friend of ours that was killed by a drunk driver. And it was a horrible day. His kids babysat my kids. His wife was my husband's business coach. And all three of them were killed by a drunk driver, whom it turns out that we also knew and loved. His name is Tom Wellinger. So it became very apparent this conversation needed to get started. Forgiveness was already something I'd already started in my own business about leadership and taking risks. And how quickly can you forgive yourself? Because it's inevitable. You are going to make mistakes. And the game is, how do you get back on the horse, grieve your losses so you don't keep making the same mistakes over and over. I mean, I'm just watching you and your marketing, Natalie. I know you've made a ton of mistakes, but you look at them, you digest them, you say, okay, team, all right, this did not work. What can we do next? What might work? And it's that ability, that tenaciousness. And that's what started Project Forgive was Gary, who lost his family, his tenaciousness to, instead of being victimized by this, and don't get me wrong, he grieved and he continues to grieve.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be a bold contribution to the planet. And I can't think of a better way for being the catalyst for starting a Project Forgive movement.
Yeah. So tell me the purpose of the project. Like, who are you working with and who are you helping?
Yep, we have two missions actually. One of them is health related because there's so many correlations and links and research between our ability to forgive and how well we take care of ourselves. Whether it's physical health, whether it's emotional health, we're really into that mental behavioral health space. We work with a lot of hospitals. We're really pushing and promoting counseling. We're huge proponents of counseling, like BetterHelp.com is one of our sponsors. We love them. It's an online resource for counseling. And our second mission is focusing on kids at risk. And we're working particularly in the juvenile justice system. We got our first very large grant to create a pilot program helping kids at risk with self-esteem, working through conversations of integrity, collaboration, diversity, and forgiveness. And it's like I want to say, pinch me, Natalie. I want to say, pinch me. I get to do this. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all on board with having authentic, real conversations. I think sometimes the challenge is that, we don't go deep enough within ourselves to understand, where things are coming from. Like I remember, the last year of my marriage, like Glenn and I, whenever we talked about issues, it would always be the symptoms. The stuff was at the top. We kind of never got underneath and go, well, where is that really coming from? So what does an authentic conversation look like?
How about I'll have one with you right now?
All right, great.
As a motivational speaker, we put up this persona that our life is so great and amazing. And what many, oh yeah, I got it together. See me flying all over the place. I'm in first class. But you see that a lot. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm bad. And here's the deal. What I'm dealing with on a daily basis, sometimes I have a hard time getting out of bed, Natalie, because I've got a mom with 4-stage breast cancer. I've got a dad with 4-stage melanoma. I only have one sister. Her husband is in 4-stage lymphoma. And my sister was just diagnosed with kidney cancer. So I've been navigating, like you can even feel, I've been navigating a lot of grief. And it doesn't mean I'm horrible pain every single day, because I really do believe what you focus on expands. And I allow myself to, be with whatever's going on, to talk about it when I'm feeling a wave of grief come up. And it's your ability to really share what is so for you. And to me, that is the bottom line of authenticity, what you're present to, what's hard, what's easy. Then in the same breath, and I can shift my energy in this moment, we're negotiating a TV show for a pilot for very large networks right now, the same breath. So there's amazing things going on. There's hard things going on. And isn't the game to kind of dance with both and all of it? Isn't that the game?
It is the game. How to have that. And the thing is that when those perceived negative emotions, then, I think that every emotion serves a purpose. And I am genuinely sorry to hear about, your family.
I appreciate it.
But, you have to feel that. You have to feel the sorrow. You have to feel the grief. You have to go through that so that on the other side of that, you can, that's what gives you the ability to keep moving forward one step at a time and still be able to focus on the bigger projects that you are. And I know that grief is one of those things. It's such a personal thing. It's there is no rules. It's just like you have to, you have to process what you have to process. But I think one of the worst things that we do is that we beat ourselves up internally because we're like, well, we're not doing it right, or why am I still sad, and why am I, how do you help people move through the self, deprivation that we do to ourselves?
Yeah, one of them is a tool that we have, because all our stuff on our website is free. It's called Getting Unstuck, and it's the process of forgiving yourself for not forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, like, it's just getting to the down and dirty, the bottom line, because things really are, and I do believe, happening for us rather than to us. If you can be in that perspective, it's hard. It's a skill to get there. And one of my mantras, I love Mother Teresa. One of her mantras is, and it's a prayer. And just so you know, Project Forgive is non-religious. We welcome whatever faith or non-faith. We're about bringing people together. Yeah. And Mother Teresa has this prayer that she says, and it isn't verbatim, and she says something like this: "Dear God, please break my heart. Break my heart so deeply that nothing can break my heart." And that touches me, because leading a global movement on forgiveness, I need to be so grounded as I possibly can be, constantly transforming, moving through all my stuff. And I am so tenaciously committed to that. And I really do see all this cancer in my family system as supporting me to move through it so I can support my family,
yeah,
powerfully.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think, and it's interesting. I was talking to someone yesterday, and we were talking about, when challenges come up, if we can give these events, I think the first thing is, the quality of the questions we ask ourselves is important. So, even if you just sit in the possibility of, well, what if this is happening for me? Yeah. What if this is happening for me? Well, what would, and it helps to shift your perspective a little bit. And then also, giving a positive meaning to things that are happening. Now, I don't believe that that's in the moment that's actually what you need to do. Yes. But I know that eventually that you will get there. Yes. But being honest and real and authentic. And I think also it's also important to find the right person to be able to share and be vulnerable with, you're not just talking to anybody, but you want to talk to someone who can create that space so that you can, open up that conversation. And
you're going exactly where I was going to go, because Brene Brown, she's so beautiful, her research on shame and vulnerability. And she talks a lot about picking people that are never going to meet our needs. And you are spot on. Create safe, loving, extraordinary people in your life. Do whatever it takes to have that, because this is so precious. This information is so precious, and it really will make or break you. It will, and who you share it with.
Now, I know that at Project Forgive, you have a lot of free tools and resources for people to go to help themselves. So can you share a story of someone that that has really benefited from, the tools and resources that you have there?
I'm just going to say her first name. Her first name is Holly, and she comes on our Facebook Lives every week without fail. She's just written her second book. She comes from a lot of background abuse, and she's actually having powerful transformations in her past abuse and facing it powerfully and growing her business. And I get emails from her weekly or monthly. She'll let me know how she's doing and how she's growing. And just getting that little shift in perspective has deeply, deeply transformed her. And the getting unstuck deeply helped her.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I mean, and I know that we all say that forgiveness is, it's a very healthy way for us to move forward. It's not necessarily for the person that we're forgiving. So is there that steps that we go through to be able to get to a place where that this past event or situation is no longer, holding us back?
Yeah. I think forgiveness is such a process, Natalie. I don't know if there's anywhere to get, and that's what makes us so unique.
Right.
Is there we're already perfect, exquisite, amazing. Isn't the game to be more peaceful and more present? And for every single person, it's going to be so different. What I love about Project Forgive is our mantra is transforming the unconscious to consciousness, taking something unconscious and making it conscious. And the more you increase that consciousness, the more you naturally shift. It's like when you say you're going to buy a VW bug. I got a VW bug. You start noticing VW bugs everywhere. It just starts to shift. And you're like, oh, yeah, I love that car. That's the car I'm going to get. And that's what we tout and that's what we promote, is that natural process and practice, because we do a lot of skills that you get to practice.
Yeah. And you're right. It's an ongoing lifetime journey. And then, being able to sit in the present moment and acknowledge and and to appreciate, you know, the process that you're going through, I think is really important.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
yeah.
Please go ahead.
I was just going to say one other really advanced thought that I love is, what if the possibility is that forgiveness doesn't even exist? This is really high level conversation, because when you evolve in your peace and your presence, you really get that people are doing things not to you at all, that they're just reacting in their own junk. And even if they call you names, spread rumors about you, hit you in a car crash, whatever they do, it really is about them and their process. And when you can get to that place where there's nothing to forgive, that is a powerful place indeed. And I don't mention that conversation very often because a lot of people have a hard time grasping it. I know your audience is really, really evolved. So I thought I would mention that because I love that conversation.
Well, that's I had a personal experience with that, because, you know, my growing up, I'm one of 8 kids, big family. And Mum and I did not see eye to eye on many things. And we had quite a tumultuous relationship when I was growing up. And I left home when I was 17. I left my hometown when I was 18. And of course, you know, in my early 20s, everything I did was motivated just to stick it to my mum so that I could show her that I could thrive without her and I didn't need her. And then I had a moment of clarity when I was about 24 years old and realized how hard it would have been for her. You know, 8 children, like I don't even have one, like I can't even imagine, and how she really did love me and how she really was doing everything for my best benefit. So when I went home and had a conversation with her, I didn't have to say, I forgive you, because there was nothing to forgive. You know, I could see that everything she did was out of love and for my best interest. So why would I forgive her for that? And I just
Understood.
how much I loved and respected her. So it completely shifted that for me, because it was, you know, there is nothing to forgive. So
that's so powerful. That was a great example.
Thank you. So Danny, if people want to connect with you and find out more about Project Forgive, where can we send them to do that?
Yeah, of course, they can go to projectforgive.com and come find us on Facebook. We're always having exquisite conversations. And can I be really bold and ask you to talk about mind movies and such too? Because we're doing this live on Project Forgive as well. And I want them to know what I want them to know about your quiz, which is brilliant, by the way. So would you share that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 30-second quiz is really just designed to figure out, you know, what is blocking you from success. You know, we talked a lot about how there's a lot of, you know, the conscious things that we're aware of, but then subconsciously there are deeper programs that we're not aware of. And the series of questions that we have there really helps you to identify which one of the 3 main core subconscious limiting beliefs is really running the show in the background, because most of the time we're not aware of it. And I think that when you find out what that result is, it's like, oh, I remember when I found out what my core one was. It was just like, it was like dominoes, all these thoughts. I'm like, this explains everything. So once we were aware of what that is, it's easy for us to then be able to show you how to, you know, create new neural pathways, how to think differently, how to create thoughts that are in alignment with what you want through something powerful like mind movies, which is like a little movie version of a vision board, but it's the movie of the life that you want to create for yourself. When you combine affirmations and photos and music together, it really helps make it easy for you to see yourself and imagine yourself in this amazing future, which of course fastens up that whole manifestation process. So,
oh, that's beautiful. And it's aligned with our mantra of unconscious, making the unconscious conscious. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. We'll be sure to put some links up on this as well.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you, Shawne, for joining me today. It's always a pleasure talking to you, darling.
Oh, you too, sweetheart. Mwah.
Okay, so guys, you know, like I said, if you're watching this live on Facebook or on our YouTube channel, just click the link below to take that quiz. And if you are watching this on mindmovies.com, don't forget to leave your email so we can send you the Manifesting with the Masters video e-course for free. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.